Alright, I'm back with the Ring of Honor TV review for February 4th, 2012. They're in Baltimore again, and I did not really like this show that much. For a long time, I thought there was only going to be one match. And I understand that the show's only an hour, and they got to do a lot of promos to build up the angles, and they got to promote the pay-per-view and stuff, but they did one match in the beginning, and I thought that might be it until the very end of the show, and the second match started, and they only had 9 minutes left. So I know Kevin Steen's segment took up a lot of time too, but I really thought there was only going to be one match, and the next match was kind of like started abruptly and ended abruptly, so I really thought there would just be one match on this entire show, but they kind of changed it up a little. But I'll tell you what I mean when I get there. Basically, they open the show and Jay Lethal's talking about they show Jay Lethal from the Triple Threat match at Final Battle, and they're recapping that. Backstage, Mike Bennett and Maria talk about the Triple Threat and how close he was to winning. They go to the next match, and it's Mike Bennett versus Jay Lethal for the TV title. This was a good match. Both guys looked good here. Mike Bennett looks strong. Lethal hits Brutal Bob at one point, which was good. And Bennett uses Maria as a shield. So he does some heel maneuvers here. He thinks the lethal injection should be an illegal move, apparently, is what the commentator said. And the finish it was kind of strange. Basically, Maria jumps on the apron. And Bennett is kind of on the ropes, and it looks like she pushes him. And I don't know if she was turning against him or trying to help him. I don't see how pushing him helped him, but that's what happened. And then he falls back, and Jay Lethal gets him in a crucifix roll-up for the win. So Jay Lethal's still your TV title champion, but this kind of confused me a little bit. Backstage, they have Eddie Edwards. Oh, and there's going to be a lot of backstage segments here. Backstage, Eddie Edwards is talking about Kyle O'Reilly and how he doesn't really care about loyalty or friendship because he doesn't care about Adam Cole and Future Shock, since all he cares about is hanging around with Davey Richards. Kyle comes up to him and he says, I'm a true friend to Davey Richards. I am a real friend, a better friend than you are. And he says, he wants a match with Edwards. And he says, Eddie, you have the pull with Cornette. Go make the match. So Kyle O'Reilly walks away, and Eddie Edwards says, all right, I guess we'll have the match next week. They show a backstage promo setting up the Fort Lauderdale show, and it's Mike Bennett and Maria. They're basically just talking about how they're going to go there and just beat everyone. They've been doing this a lot lately to build up the Fort Lauderdale show, so it's always different wrestlers backstage. That's fine. They recap Steen and Carino again from Final Battle. And Kevin Kelly is in the ring, and he introduces his next guest, who is Kevin Steen. And this segment was pretty awesome, actually. Steen is very good on the mic. He comes out, he takes the mic from Kevin Kelly. He says he waited a year to speak his mind. And all this time he's pictured it, Kevin Kelly wasn't there. So he tells Kevin Kelly to leave. And he says, what kind of wrestling promotion takes their top guy off of television? Who keeps their top guy sitting at home? And, I'm banned for a year. And this wouldn't happen in other wrestling promotions. In other wrestling promotions, you can get away with all types of stuff. You can basically get away with murder. But not in Ring of Honor. And he says he was only kept away for a year because he wouldn't kiss Jim Cornette's ass like Davey Richards. And the fans start dual chants for Richards and Kill Sting Kill. He says, if the world ends in 2012 like all these people are saying, then I won't mind. I'll face it as Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. And he's going to hold the company hostage, and he's going to create chaos and pain in Ring of Honor as the world champion. He says he's wrestling's worst nightmare, and then all of a sudden Jim Cornette comes out. He's got Kerry Silkin with him. He's got a bunch of guards. And he comes out and says, "You're wrestling's biggest mouthpiece." Man, Cornette's also just great on the mic, as usual. And they kind of insult each other. He calls Steen fat. Steen says, you carried a tennis racket all these years and you look like you've never played a sport in your life. Jim Cornette says you're a combination of Jackass and Fear Factor. And he basically says that Jim Cornette says, "I was there when Owen Hart gave Steve Austin that pile driver that, cut his career short. But Owen Hart felt really bad about what he did, and you show no remorse." So, essentially, he bans the package pile driver, or any form of the pile driver. Pile driver completely banned in Ring of Honor. He says it's a dangerous move, and he says, "I'm going to cut this short so you can go back to eating boogers or whatever it is you do for a hobby." And Steen says, "That's fine. You want to ban my finishing move? You're not banning it for the safety of everyone. You're banning it so I can't use it on your boy Davey Richards. But it doesn't matter because 2012 is, my year to take the title. I'm going to beat him with a different finishing move." But essentially, Jim Cornette did ban the package pile driver or any version of the pile driver. Backstage, House of Truth are talking about how the Briscoes were the weak links in the 8-man tag match. Next week, they're going to get revenge on the Briscoes. Roderick says they will finally shut the Briscoe brothers up once and for all. Briscoes are backstage and they're cutting a promo, just great Briscoe promo. They just talk about House of Truth and how they're going to beat them up. So I guess they got World's Greatest Tag Team after them. They got a match with the Young Bucks and House of Truth. So, yeah, the Briscoes are going to be busy for a while. Davey Richards is backstage, and he says he's not afraid of Kevin Steen. He's going to beat Kevin Steen, and he's the better wrestler. The All Night Express are backstage. They're talking about how everything came crashing down for him at Final Battle. Titus says that he was told it'd be 4 months before he can wrestle again, and he says, "I guarantee I'll be back in half that time." And he says next time the Young Bucks are going to be the ones going to the hospital. The Young Bucks cut some promos, and they talk about how they're better than the Briscoes. They're going to take their belts at the pay-per-view. They kind of run down all the tag teams in Ring of Honor, the Wrestling's Greatest Losers, All Night Express are dorks, and that they're going to take the titles and bring them back home to sunny, beautiful California. World's Greatest Tag Team comes out, and they say that they won't wrestle the Bravados tonight. Said they wanted to give an interview, but the official backstage said their interview was cut short because of Kevin Steen. So they're really mad about that, but, Shelton takes the mic and says they make the rules, and they liked Baltimore, but after hearing the reception they got, they changed their mind. He says that anyone who cheers the Briscoes over them is as stupid as they are, and that they're going to hold the show hostage until the Briscoes come out and they get the rematch they deserve. But Cornette comes out instead. So I'm guessing World's Greatest Tag Team is turning heel. Which is awesome, because this is the best way to turn heel. When it's a genuine turn. Like, the fans really like the Briscoes. And that just happened. That just made them natural faces. And just because they like the Briscoes so much, they didn't like World's Greatest Tag Team. So instead of forcing World's Greatest Tag Team down people's throat and trying to make them, baby faces, just turn them heel if they're already getting booed. A lot of other companies could learn some stuff about that. But anyway, Jim Cornette comes out instead, and he says, "You guys can't hold the show hostage like this." and he's talking to him, and then all of a sudden the Briscoes come out and they start fighting, jumping over the officials, and just attacking the world's greatest tag team. They decide to ring the bell, and a match starts. And this is the last match. They only had 9 minutes left in the show. So I wasn't really sure what they were going to do with this, but it was really short because there wasn't much time, and I think there may have even been a commercial break in that too. But they didn't have much time, so it's kind of just a big brawl. The guys are just fighting each other. Cornette sits down to do commentary, and he says, I guess it's for the titles. The titles are on the line. And Shelton Benjamin, Mark Briscoe has Charlie Haas down in kind of a roll-up, but he pushes him off him, and as Mark runs towards the ropes, he kind of puts his head in between them, and Shelton Benjamin puts up a chair, so Mark runs his head into the chair. So the bell rings, they get disqualified. I guess Shelton Benjamin is fined another $5,000. And Jim Cornette's just going crazy on the commentary. He's just screaming about the chair shot. So it was, it was an okay show, I guess. But yeah, I just wish they could get some more wrestling in there. But I suppose with Kevin Steen coming back and that being the big news, that it's alright, it makes sense. And, you know, at least they did try to put another match in there. So you had the one good match with the TV title, then you had the Steen promo, and then you had, the Briscoes and World's Greatest Tag Team rematch kind of just thrown there at the last minute. But next week, I guess it'll be the Briscoes versus House of Truth, and Kyle O'Reilly versus Eddie Edwards. So I hope you guys like this review, and I will be back for a recap review of Monday Night Raw. So subscribe to my channel, like my videos, leave some comments, and thanks for listening. Bye.